It's Dr. Dan Purser, danpursermd.com. Tonight, we're going to do a Facebook Live on MTHFR, all the things your doctor won't tell you or doesn't know to tell you about MTHFR. And first of all, I want to give a hat tip to Catherine Conlon, who came up with this idea, who suggested it. Then she was kind enough to send me a bunch of great questions that either she came up with or her team or someone came up with. But it's Catherine Conlon sent it. So we will reward her, Brecken, who's to my left, and my co-hosts, and Jackson, who's across the way over there and is still single and not dating anyone. Okay.
Every time.
With a bottle of our new MTHFR Endure. Can I talk about this or no?
Yeah. Explain it.
You want me to talk now?
Yeah, might as well.
MTHFR Endure. I designed this. Yes. Oh. Can I mention that we're getting a new patent? No. Okay, no.
You can mention it, yeah.
We're being awarded a patent on our copper balance because it's the first really functional metallothionein, zinc copper metallothionein support that works.
Yep.
You figured that one out. Okay, so we're being awarded a patent on that, which is incredible. It goes a long way towards us claiming that as an FDA-approved medical food. Okay, MTHFR Endure. People react to the MTHFR support. 1 out of 100 don't like it. Maybe it's 1 out of 50, but in my estimation, it's been, would you say about 1 out of 100?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brecken said yes. So 1 out of 100. Maybe a little more often than that, but not much.
Yeah.
And I think it was the glutamine in there that did that. So I removed the glutamine. Also, some people were over methylating on it. So I got rid of the methyl B12 out of it, and I put hydroxy B12 in it, right?
Hydroxycobalamin.
Hydroxycobalamin. I also, because folinic acid got named bizarrely by the FDA as a drug, even though it's the most natural form of folate, we had to use DFE, which is food folate. Natural food folate, one of the most natural forms of folate out there too. So not 5-MTHF. So there is a little tiny smidge of that in there, right?
Just a tiny bit.
Tiny bit. So they can't really over-methylate. People who tried it have loved it. So if you have trouble with MTHFR Support, or you can only take one. Now, we're going to change the name of that to Renew, so you know. No, was it Renew?
Yep. Renew.
Yeah, MTHFR Renew. And this is then our Support Plus became, in essence, MTHFR Endure. So here it is. Here's a picture of it. Take a screenshot. Is that too close to mess up?
Nope, we're focused.
Can you hear me all right? Hello? Okay. Next, nicknames. I want to discuss why we call Brecken Cheese
No.
Cheese Puff Starlet.
That's not my nickname. That's your nickname. Cheese Puff Starlet. Someone was asking what his nickname was. He likes to do this little thing where he blames the joke on me, but it's really him.
We were at Disney World a few years ago, and we turned around and Brecken has all this hair, like her mom and her sisters, and she had this thing like a giant cheese puff crawling up the back of her hair, and we all looked at it, and Brecken's like, what is it? We're like, I think it's a cheese puff in your hair, and we got really close looking at it. It was a really big Orlando
caterpillar.
Yeah, a caterpillar that looked like a giant cheese puff. Had little bitty wings. Like, what's that? What's that guy? Like Heimlich. It was Heimlich's cousin from what?
A Bug's Life.
A Bug's Life, yeah. Heimlich's cousin from A Bug's Life, and it was crawling up her hair. And then she freaked out, was whipping her hair around, and the cheese puff went somewhere. I don't know where, and then someone stepped on it. It was horrible.
Well, their reaction, they all were yelling at me saying something was on me because they could see it crawling, and none of them were trying to get it off of me.
It was beautiful. It was orange.
But you'd think they would help.
Like a giant cheese puff. And so we've called her Cheese Puff Starlet ever since.
I don't know how, but we started calling him Cheese Puff.
No, we called you that first.
No.
You're trying to mutate the name over to me. Okay, so we put that to rest now. So if anyone comes up with a really, really good question tonight, we'll give them a bottle of our MTHFR Endure. Yes. Our new Endure. And one day we'll come out with our new Renew, which is pretty much like the old Support.
The exact same
thing,
as
yeah.
support, just a new name.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we did we're being awarded a patent on our copper balance.
That's it.
So, which helps you normalize your copper and zinc levels, intracellular versus extracellular, so you don't hurt anymore. Okay. Well, that's just for certain people that I won't mention their disease. Okay.
He whispers ASMR.
I was just joking. Okay, so why don't we get right into this? Just start asking me questions. Oh, yeah, I want to give a shout out to Officer Brantley. I know that's not really your actual real official officer name, but I just want to say, dude, been there, done that. Hang in there. Let's talk. Let's talk. And because I've been there, trust me, been there. And if I can help, I'm here for you. So I've definitely been down that road. So I always support first responders, people like that. He was injured in the line of duty. That's all I'll say. I think great guy from what I've heard, award-winning super dude. Anyway, Officer Brantley, we should talk. Okay, enough of that.
Why don't you say your quotes?
What was that?
You missed your quotes.
Oh, my medical quotes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, how about this one from Dr. Ron Paul, of course. We love him. When we give government the power to make medical decisions for us. So when we give government the power to make medical decisions for us, or let me say when we give any insurance company that power too, we in essence accept that the state or insurance company owns our bodies. I think most of you young living people and most of the people that follow me don't want someone telling you what to do with your body or how to do it or where to do it or when you can do it or what you can and can't do medically. That's why you use me, I'm guessing, right? Okay. This is one of my favorite quotes ever because I've known this for years. I could have made this quote. Failing to listen to the woman, I would also say the mother, is one of the biggest mistakes a practitioner can make. So true. If you don't listen to those moms when they're saying, Tommy has a bug in his ear canal, and you go, no, he can't have a bug in his ear canal. I don't see it in there. You better look again, and you better clean that wax off that bug that's burrowed in there, because I'll guarantee you there's a bug in there. Or he has strep throat, and you just missed it, or whatever. You better listen to the moms. I've never found them to be wrong. 30-plus years of practice, so even if they're just guesstimating. Okay, so why don't we get right into this?
Yep.
We're just going to kind of break down MTHFR step by step, question by question.
Yeah.
So you're going to play Catherine Conlon. I'm going to play Dr. Purser.
Yeah.
And you're going to ask me questions that she came up with.
Yeah. I'm going to go a little bit out of order of yours just because I feel like
What?
it makes a
No,
little
I've
more
got to
sense.
memorize the what?
Can you explain MTHFR in general terms?
First of all, MTHFR stands for methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase enzyme deficiency disease. I can say it really fast.
Do it.
Methylene tetrahydrofolate reductase enzyme deficiency disease. What it really is, it's you're reducing methyl tetrahydrofolate down to bifolate or folate, and that's the process. And using it, breaking it down in your system and using it properly, you're methylating, and you need the extra methyl groups because that's how you create energy. It's also it's also a critical pathway to creating glutathione, to creating other things that you make hormones with. So people who have, anyway, that's how it works.
Yeah.
And there's two forms of MTHFR. There's the C677T, which is the worst form, and there's the A1298C. And I have one of those, which is the milder form, but not much milder.
What's the origin of MTHFR?
These are transcription errors. The origin, we don't know exactly where it occurred. Both of them appear to occur in Denmark or Sweden or somewhere in the Viking controlled area, maybe 1,000 generations ago. And it's been passed down. They're really common among North Americans who have of Northern European descent. For example, in Utah, I estimate that 85% of people have it. Because if you look around Utah, everyone has blonde hair, blue eyes. Huh.
Flash my hair.
Oh,
a
in my
little.
room too, right here, right now. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
My eyes are green though.
Okay, well, they look.
I know
blue.
they're kind of blue green.
Yeah, and that's not a sure sign, but a pretty sure sign that they probably have MTHFR. If that girl or guy has blonde hair, blue eyes, and has depression and fatigue a lot.
Yeah, that kind of leads into this. How is MTHFR the root of so many diseases?
Number one, you can't methylate properly, so you can't protect your other genetics properly. It's easy to get damage and not repair it. So that gives you a much increased risk for cancer. You get a lot of inflammation from it, a lot of fatigue, low hormones, especially low testosterone, stuff like that. And you can get a plethora of problems that spring from all that. High homocysteine levels or just the inflammation in general can cause significant cardiovascular disease, strokes, heart attacks, deep venous thrombosis, pulmonary emboli, stuff like that. People with MTHFR, in my opinion, should not take birth control pills, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you can't anyway, because you can't properly detoxify or break down certain certain medicines. Just can't do it, and birth control pills would be one of them.
Makes sense. Just to clarify, I'm seeing in the comments people are saying, well, I have dark hair, dark eyes. Does that mean I don't have MTHFR?
No.
It's just we find more commonly people with blonde hair, blue eyes do
Right.
have it.
Right.
Yep.
85%, from what I can tell, people here in Utah
Yeah.
have it.
It's crazy.
It's why we're the Prozac capital of the world, too.
Yep. What are the most common symptoms of someone with many methylation errors?
Fatigue, depression, maybe some anxiety. Most of it's fatigue. Really bad fatigue. They'll say, I'm tired all the time. I'm always tired. I've been tired for years. I always work through the fatigue. I'm a woman, or I'm a dad, or I'm a guy who works. Women are a lot tougher than men in my experience. Sorry, for all the men out there. Don't throw stones. But seriously, women have kids they have to raise, or they have a job they want to go to, or maybe they would just want to go out and protest somewhere. Anyway, they don't let their fatigue get in their way.
No.
But they still say in the quiet moments when they're talking to me, they go, I'm so tired all the time. I can hardly stand. I don't know how I'm going to make it through every day. I crawl through every day.
It's sad.
It's the number one thing I see people for, which is
For sure.
kind of strange. It's not really a life or death, but it's a huge quality of life issue.
Yeah. It changes your life completely when you actually have the energy to live it the right way.
Right, and I don't give Adderall or Ritalin. I get people off that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Dexamphetamine, stuff like that. I give them vitamins, but it goes around. It fixes or doesn't fix it. It goes around the methylation errors and boosts your methylation up dramatically.
Well, don't you always say good vitamins in or good nutrition in equals good hormones out?
Yeah, and good energy out too.
Yeah.
For example, if you have C677T, you're homozygous, meaning you have two of them. Let's say that's it. You don't have any other errors in your methylation process other than that. That alone gives you an 80% reduction in your ability to create ATP. What do I mean by that? Well, that's the biggest part of the methylation process. ATP is the energy coin or the unleaded gasoline of our body. If you take in one carbohydrate molecule, and that's very strictly defined in physiology and biochemistry, but you should create 32 ATP. That carbohydrate molecule has to be refined, like think of crude oil going through a refinery like into gasoline or unleaded gasoline. That'd be the ATP. That's our unleaded gasoline. So the crude oil or the carbohydrate molecule goes through the cell, through the nucleus of the cell, through the mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cell. For this reason, because the carbohydrate goes through the Krebs cycle and out comes ATP production, 32 ATP. And I just said if you just have those two errors, the two C677T errors passed down to you, transcription errors copied over and over again from some ancestor 1,000 years ago, you'll have 80% reduction. That means you'll have 25 of those you won't make. The rest will always be wanting to be stored as fat. You're only making 7 ATP from every carbohydrate. You're always tired, always behind, always exhausted.
It's crazy. Can you name 3 to 5 common gene errors that can be helped with supplements or your supplements?
COMT is a big one. COMT dramatically increases your risk for breast cancer. It shoves your estradiol down the wrong pathway into an inflammatory breakdown estrone product, and which is bad. And 16 alpha hydroxyestrone is what you form when you have the COMT errors, and so you get a twofold increase for every COMT you have. It can be, if you have a lot of COMT errors, it can be a really big breast cancer risk.
Well, you can use me for example. Don't I have a lot?
You have a ton of them,
and
your mom does too, and that's why it's such a high risk for breast cancer in the family.
Every woman in my family,
has gotten or died from breast cancer.
Yep, except for my mom. Knock on wood. What?
Oh, that's COMT.
Yeah.
GAD1, which is anxiety error. It's not a methylation error, but it's a bad anxiety error. If you have GAD1, you have too much glutamine, not enough GABA. If you have ATG16L1, you'll have a lot of severe anxiety, and you'll need extra lithium in your diet or in your as a capsule, tiny dose, not a medication dose. Or you also can't absorb inositol correctly, so you need the chiral image of inositol, the mirror image of regular inositol. You can absorb that, and it can really help with your anxiety. Also, a big methylation error is Folar 2 among North Americans. So there's Folar 1 and Folar 2. And I tell people when we get a genetics report back, go through, look at all these, Google all these, so you know what errors you have and why you can't absorb some form of folate. Folar 2 is for folic acid. I know you're going, wasn't folic acid bad for you? Yeah. If you have a Folar 2 error, which is really common in North Americans, you can absorb folic acid correctly. It floats around your system and causes havoc instead. And if you're homozygous for Folar 2, which I saw 7 of last week, they can't absorb any folic acid. So they're essentially, so Folar 1 and Folar 2 code for folate receptors on the cell surface. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And there's folate receptor type 1, which is like folinic acid and DFE and other forms of folate. And then there's and methylfolate. And then there's Folar 2, which is a receptor that allows folic acid to be taken into the cell. And if you can't take in folic acid, that's what's in all the processed flour and everything else, the enriched flours, all that kind of stuff. So it'll give you problems. Or if you try and take prenatals, you won't be able to handle them because they have a lot of folic acid in them. There's Folar 1. There's DHFR, which means you can't break down folate correctly. There's other ones where you can't break down the methylcobalamin correctly, or cyanocobalamin for sure.
B12.
Stuff like that. So yeah, and so suddenly when I can do an intracellular test like the SpectraCell and see you have all these deficiencies. I go, aha, you probably got a Folar 2, you got a MTRR, or an MTRR. There's 2 of them, or you have Folar 1, or you have MTHFR C677T or A1298C. I can tell a lot. That's why I like getting SpectraCells, but also the genetic testing, which we offer.
Yeah.
The
How
foundation methylation is the one you want to get, though, for that.
How many methylation errors can you have, potentially?
I think I know of 18. There's 16 I think we test for because we can do something about them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. That was just a question I saw that came up. Are there any glutathione errors that are affected
Oh yeah, a
in
ton
this?
of them. GSTB1, GSTL1, GSTM3, 2, and 1. There's a ton of them that don't allow you to make adequate amounts of glutathione or to recycle it correctly, like CTH and some of those. Then you can't recycle the glutathione from oxidized to reduced status. And you want it reduced. Glutathione is when it's reduced, it's ready to fire. It's ready to grab something and protect you. Most people have a lot of oxidized glutathione floating around, and that's the stuff you usually can get off Amazon and stuff, but it's worthless.
It's not doing anything.
Doesn't do anything.
So you kind of mentioned genetic testing. Should the entire family get tested, or should just the parents, or should all the siblings? What do you usually
I don't know. I
recommend?
usually tell them to pick the worst child or and go from there and break it down. If they're really, really bad and really hard to figure out, I'll suggest like our Pro 7 kit. Also, sometimes I'll layer on a 23andMe compiled by a NutriHacker Complete. That's a really good one, but it doesn't tell me what a Pro 7 tells me. It's a lot more specific. The foundation methylation one we have is inexpensive and quick. The problem with 23andMe is that it takes 8 to 10 weeks to get the results back, and there's no privacy on it. So don't use your real name, don't use your real date of birth. It's just a pain.
Mm-hmm. And then you have to connect it to NutriHacker too, which is always a fun process.
Yeah.
But if you need help with that, contact our office. I can help you.
Help is our helper.
I do that a lot for people. Is there anything you can do to help support like a 4-year-old or young, like a 1-year-old, if they have these errors?
Yes, absolutely can. Our Tiny Bite was designed for that, and it'll be back eventually, sooner rather than later, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I like one of my grandsons takes a quarter of or half of a Tiny Bite every day or every other day. I'm not sure what, because of his own errors. And he's bigger, faster, stronger. He'll be playing in the NFL next week. Okay, maybe not next week, next year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he'll be 2. Okay, maybe not. So,
But it definitely helps.
will help optimize the site, his intelligence, and all that kind of thing, I would think.
So is there an age that kids should start if you know they have these genetic errors?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt him to give like a quarter of a Tiny Bite,
Mm-hmm.
1 or 2 a week. See how they do on it. If they have better days, watch them.
Yep.
Moms are really tuned into all this stuff nowadays. Is he paying attention? Is he looking him in the eye? Is he all over the map? What's going on with him?
Yeah. What about glutathione? Can children take glutathione?
Yes, if they have the genetic errors, get the Pro 7, or also get a 23andMe if you get them spitting it too. It's really hard to get a little baby to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
it's easier to swab their cheek for the Pro 7, and I'll tell you what glutathione errors they have. I wouldn't give it to them other than that.
Where can they order the Pro 7?
Physician, let's see, danpursermd.com.
Yep.
That's me.
That's your name.
Yeah, under testing.
Good job. Yep. What about those who are like just finding this out in their 60s or 70s? Is it too late for them to get started?
No, and if they want to live longer and happier, have a better quality of life, no, it's not too late. I have older patients all the time who find all this stuff. They're most curious because they're like, I'm 72. I know I have another 30, 40 years, but even if I have 10, I want to live it to the best of my ability. I want to run marathons. I want to have energy. I want to be awake. I don't want to be tired all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All that.
Yeah, so it's never too late. Why did the majority of, this is someone's specific question, why did the majority of my issues begin 10 to 15 years ago? They felt like they were pretty healthy until they were in about their upper 20s, and then it all started kind of going down.
See that all the time. I see it happen in the 30s or 40s even. Usually it's in their late teens, early 20s, but I've seen it all across the board. I've seen it in their 50s. Trauma, stress, loss of a job, loss of a loved one can set off your genetics. That gets into the whole issue of epigenetics, which is turning genes on. What turns them on? What makes them active? Or you get this, B vitamins are known as stress vitamins. Maybe you reach that critical point with stress where you flip over the curve and you're suddenly deficient in B vitamins. Remember, the number one deficiency I see on SpectraCell, and I get 5 to 8 of those a week on you guys, is B12 deficiency, which is the great mimic. But I've seen riboflavin and thiamine. I've seen a lot of those. Oddly enough, I've seen a lot of CoQ10 deficiencies
A
lately.
lot.
And they're all taking CoQ10, but they're taking ubiquinone, which does you no good. The red label mega Qunol or Designs for Health CoQunol 100 milligrams is what you want, at least 2 a day. So,
Yeah, so there's a lot to do. Which Young Living products are MTHFR friendly?
all of them.
Cool.
That's a vague question, but all of them. But which ones really help?
Yeah.
Master formula. So I don't think the crowd mostly knows how we designed master formula. I had 4,000 SpectraCell results on Young Living distributors done at conventions. 4,000 of those. So we randomly pulled out 1,000. Remember when we whited out all the names and stuff and identifiers? And then we recopied them again, so they had all been privatized. We gave that, so we wouldn't violate HIPAA. We gave those over to R&D, and they compiled all the data. We knew what your deficiencies were. What we also figured out from that data was that 85, like Utah, 85% of Young Living distributors have bad methylation errors. B12, folate deficiency, pantothenate deficiencies, glutamine, serine, stuff like that, CoQ10 deficiencies, glutathione deficiencies, a lot of those. All the stuff you see with MTHFR.
Yeah.
And so we knew probably 85% of Young Living distributors either had MTHFR or some other methylation problem that was significant, and it wasn't being addressed. So that's helped us and Gary reformulate Super B and design master formula. So you didn't choose Young Living. You didn't have a choice to use stuff like Young Living because you can't detox properly. Most of you can't handle birth control pills at all. Thank goodness, because they're really high clot risk for anyone with MTHFR. Secondly, and so is the Marine IUD, by the way. Secondly, you can't take prenatals because the folic acid and cyanocobalamin bombs you. It makes you feel horrible. And so you think you have a hyperemesis gravidarum pregnancy, when in reality you just are sick from the prenatal. So either take master formula as a prenatal, it's not one, or Thorne Research has a basic prenatal, or Designs for Health, contact me, they have Prenatal Pro, which is also MTHFR qualified.
That's great. What about Mind-Wise? Would that one be a good one?
Neither here nor there.
Okay, gotcha.
Won't hurt you though.
That was just another one. Kind of moving on to back to our MTHFR Support and Endure. What's the difference between those two? I'm getting that a lot. I'm seeing
MTHFR
comments.
Support and Endure, MTHFR Support Plus and Endure.
Well, why don't you first explain? Let's go back to Endure.
We're
and Plus.
changing the name
what
of
happened?
MTHFR Support to Renew. We changed the name of Support Plus to Endure, but Endure has DFE, which is also what's now being put into, I believe, into master formula, and I
saw
believe
that.
into Super Bs, because there's no other choice for natural food folate. And we have hydroxycobalamin. We're trying to make it so you can't even get close to overmethylating with our MTHFR Endure. MTHFR Renew is the same as our Support. There's no different. They're exactly the same. So Renew and Endure now.
Yeah.
So we tried to get tricky, set ourselves apart. We were the first with an MTHFR Support, but now there's a ton of them on Amazon. People don't even honor name recognition, but okay, whatever.
So the main difference between Support and Endure, which Support's going to be Renew. Sorry, it's very confusing at this point, but
The Renew, or MTHFR, simply MTHFR Support, has a lot of extra methyl groups on it. So, so you can get the extra methyl groups you need.
so it's
Once
kind
you're
of,
loaded up with methyl groups, you can switch to the Endure and do a lot better.
which is kind of why we chose Renew, because MTHFR Support will give you that kick in the butt and get you started.
Right, get you out of fatigue.
And then the Endure will help you keep going.
Just
You'll
maintain.
go.
Yeah, and let's say you're taking 3 MTHFR Support and you switch over, You might need 4 of the Endure, by the way, to make the difference.
Just
Everything else is the same other than there's no glutamine. There's DFE in it, not 5-MTHFR, which has a bunch of extra methyl groups added to it. And there's no methylcobalamin as there is in the Renew or Support product. And in the Endure, it's hydroxycobalamin.
And
Good luck over methylating that. Probably not going to do it.
you
And
added
I thought the glutamine was bugging a lot of people, so
you added choline too, which
added choline, but it's going to be in both eventually.
that helped me because my
Yeah,
eye was
choline
twitching.
helps a lot, especially if your eye twitches.
I'm not joking. That literally saved my sanity because my eye would not stop twitching. And then we did a spectra cell, found out I had a choline deficiency, took it, and now my eye doesn't twitch anymore.
I don't know how else you find out if you have a choline deficiency or a riboflavin or thiamine deficiency. I know no other ways you can figure that out.
Yeah.
There must be something. I think it was the 1910s or 1920s. They'd go, yes, your knuckles are green. I don't know that. I don't know what causes this. I don't know how you tell when someone has a hyporiboflavinosis or thiamine deficiency is called beriberi, by the way. Beriberi. Did you know that? Can you Google that?
What?
Beriberi. And it can kill you.
Beriberi disease.
And you won't absorb iron if you have any of those 3 or 4 deficiencies.
Yep.
So, yeah. Beriberi is like a jungle.
Can cause heart failure.
What?
Apparently, it can cause heart failure.
Yeah, it's what it does. They get beriberi heart failure. Yeah, you wonder how many elderly people have congestive heart failure because they really have beriberi. You know someone or you early on have congestive heart failure? Check a spectra cell. Hadn't thought of that one. Wow. Maybe I've discovered something else. Okay, well, see, clearly I didn't discover it. It's been known since probably the 1880s or something. But it's just not applied to modern medicine.
Yeah. Are your MTHFR Support and Endure FDA approved?
That's a really loaded question. Legally, everything else. The products are all monographed by the FDA, meaning, these not our products, but the
ingredients.
The ingredients, thank you. Yeah, the ingredients are all monographed, which kind of means yes. But yeah, no, all you can get is patent. And then if you want to get it FDA approved as a drug, that may be what you're referring to. Supplements don't really go through an FDA approval process. Thank goodness they have to go through their FDA, their version of their FDA in Canada and in Australia, the TGA, which is crazy. I don't think Americans want to ever go there. You want to go to Australia clearly, but I mean, you don't want to have the FDA trying to approve supplements. I know there's a big move at the end of the last presidential administration to do that. That's been erased, so thank goodness.
Yeah. Will you always be on the same dose once you figure out what works, or will it constantly be changing?
So with MTHFR Renew or Support, let's call it Renew. You go up every week, 1 a week until you overmethylate. So I have people get to 10 or 11, and I'm just like, you know what, just back down to 8 and wait. Good grief.
Yeah.
While their cells all fill up. And then when their cells get full, they overmethylate. And most people, Jackson, how do you feel when you overmethylate?
I just get super tired. Symptoms of depression and anxiety start to come back a little bit. Yeah, just major fatigue. But once you start backing down quickly, at least for me, it goes away very
Yeah, I get really sleepy. Whoa, it's like a 2-2 Dramamine. Bracken, what about you?
I always use the word lethargic, but I'm actually going to see what that actually means.
Okay.
Yeah, I get lethargic. Someone told me that was the wrong word to use, but it's not. I just get super lethargic, super tired, and just like, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to do anything. And I just know that means I'm overmethylate.
That's the way I am every day.
Oh, we know. I'm just kidding. No.
All the people I talk to every day, trust me, I'm worn out every day. Oh, man. By the time I get to the afternoon, my stress gourd is blown up. Boop. So,
But it's kind of counterintuitive because someone just asked, what if you're super tired already? That usually means that you're not having enough B
you
vitamins.
have some kind of vitamin deficiency
Yeah.
or you need more ATP production or something like that. No, you're not overmethylating.
Not yet.
If you're not on, people have methylation problems. They're the only ones that can overmethylate. I haven't met anyone who didn't have them yet. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the perfect. I get some who don't have any mitochondrial errors. I get some who don't have any toxicity errors.
Gut errors.
Oh yeah, I want to mention SOD2, SOD3, and SOD1. SOD1, lack of SOD1 causes ALS, I think, but some of the forms of less common forms of ALS, and maybe possibly the intermittent or remitting ALS. The jury's still out on that. SOD2 and SOD3 cause fibromyalgia-like symptoms, bad inflammation, joint aches, fatigue, toxicity issues. You can't detox properly. And we're going to try and address that more in the next year. SOD2 is a manganese superoxide dismutase, so you can take vitamin E. I suggest usually designed for health a natto-E, which is a really good form, 300 milligrams when they're homozygous SOD2, along with the manganese from pure encapsulations. So I want to mention that while I could.
Mm-hmm. Is there such thing as undermethylation?
Jackson's giving me the Boy Scout pledge sign.
Well, we're almost done. We'll start wrapping it up.
Oh.
That's what he's trying to tell you.
Oh, I've gone over. Holy crap. Can you get homocysteine levels should always be checked? No. No, not critical.
Sorry for that dog.
Even if you don't
going
have.
crazy in the background.
So Catherine wanted to know if my intracellular, let's be accurate there, B6, folate, and B12 are fine, but she has to take MTHFR Support. People with bad methylation errors, I can't remember if Catherine has any even. Of course, I would never say if she did, but they need a lot of B12 and folate and all kinds of stuff. Way more than what their SpectraCell would indicate. Their SpectraCell may look normal. That doesn't mean they still don't need a mountain of B12 and folate every day. And it's the only way you're going to feel normal and start getting your hormones up. These girls that are in ovarian insufficiency, my PCOS patients, all of you are slowly getting better. Of my endometriosis patients that we're treating all of you with both natural progesterone and dealing with your methylation problems and vitamin deficiencies, because I'm going to make sure when we're done that you can produce enough progesterone, you're not going to be deficient. Remember, good nutrition in equals good hormones out. You get tested for these errors by, you're going to have to get genetic testing. I like the foundation methylation test that Kendall Stewart came up with that I use. Dr. Stewart's amazing. He's down in Texas. He be the man. He's the man. He's probably the most knowledgeable MD in the country on medical genetics, with maybe me being
Runner up.
yeah,
Just
at least
kidding.
in this regard, methylation stuff.
Yep.
You can't detox properly if you have bad MTHFR issues that haven't been addressed. You don't produce enough glutathione. Look at that diagram I posted.
Earlier today.
Yeah, an hour before we kicked this off. At the bottom is the glutathione alternating between reduced glutathione, which is the GSH, which is the active form, and the GSSG. Remember, our glutathione is all reduced, stable. We call it VARS. Remember, it's validated only whenever to been proven to work. It's absorbable, reduced, and stable. So, that's how you get tested. If you use the foundation methylation, it only takes a few weeks for us to get the results back and us to talk.
Yep.
Genes don't turn back on. You just fill your cells up with vitamins that you need desperately, and that's why you start to overmethylate. Your whole life from that point on is about balancing overmethylation against adequate energy levels, right? And losing weight and all that kind of stuff. Improvement should be quick, within a few weeks to a few months, if not sooner.
Yeah.
No, you won't always be on the same dose. It'll alternate. You get under more stress, you get ill, you forget to take some, whatever. You have a baby, you do whatever. You need more. So you always got to be on your toes. It's like being a diabetic, but it's easier. You're just taking some capsules that you know works.
You just kind of go as the days go on.
Right. No Facebook Live next week. Do you have another good question or two?
Yeah, let's see. So someone asked, are all types of MTHFR mutations in need of supplementation? She was told that she had one of the mutations years ago and that it would not cause any issues. But now she's like listening to this and wondering, should she be taking something?
If you have the symptoms, your diet, if you eat like maybe half a rack of ribs, the giant ribs, maybe a big beef haunch, or maybe a whole cow every day if you're really bad. If you got like 12, 13, 14 hairs, you'd maybe need 2 or 3 cows a day with some veggies. So the ideal diet think about what the Vikings ate. And the ideal diet for them was a paleo diet. That a few veggies and lots of meat, beef and stuff, because there's lots of B vitamins in there. How did these occur? Think about it. You're a Viking. Your name is Oskar. Oskar's sailing along in front of a ship, riding on the prow. All those guys behind are pumping those oars. You're going after you're heading for a fun village in Scotland to burn down, tortures a few people, rape and pillage, all the horrible things they did. And you're out in the sun a little too long and a sunspot occurs, or a sun flare occurs, which is a lot of radiation can hit you. There's Oskar out in the middle of the sea, and he's a chief, so he gets the pick of all the women in the village every day. That's the way ancient Viking life was like. He's a good-looking guy, big blonde, blue-eyed, hair flowing in the wind, and he gets zapped by a sun flare, and it nukes it causes MTHFR, C677T, and then eventually he has more kids, and 20 generations after that they have kids with each other. Just kind of gets weird, and so someone has homozygous C677T, and they feel horrible. They got to eat more cows, so they go raid more villages in England and Germany and elsewhere. It's just a vicious cycle. That's where it came from. Some scenario like that. He got the mutation, and now you get it as a gift from your ancestor. Lucky you. I have A1298C. Lucky me. So I have one of them.
And I have both. Lucky me.
Brecken is indeed, she's got both. She's a mutant.
That's what he calls all
like
of
that
us
giant cheese puff thing that was on her hair.
That's your nickname, not mine.
My name is Cheese Puff Mutant? No, that's your nickname.
So funny. I love how you describe how MTHFR started. I think that's great.
Well,
you should write a kid's book on how MTHFR started.
No.
I'll commission.
All these genetic errors started. Everyone lived outside all the time. They never went inside. They didn't have an air-conditioned cave. They hung out in. They were outside hunting critters to eat and trying to dig up some roots to eat. And boom, they get a sunspot and get nuked. That's really what happened.
I've never heard that, but it's funny.
Well, or they get hit by lightning and it fries their genetics. And then they go and have babies. What else can that work? You do it over 1,000 generations back, and someone, good old Grandpa Scurry from the 200, AD gets zapped by lightning, and you get to have his genetic errors. Lucky you. So, okay.
I thought, this is an interesting question. What does a child with the mutation typically display? Just fatigue?
ADHD. Yeah, fatigue. You wonder if they're, so 98% of kids with, I think it's 100% of kids with autism have the errors. So deal with it quick up front. See what you can do. I'll also, if the MTHFR support is too much, or the tiny bite, which is eventually going to become like our MTHFR Endure. Right now, it's like our older MTHFR Support Plus, and still will be this next batch, but because that worked really well. But I'll even have them just give that child B12 folate drops, methyl B12 folate drops, if nothing else. They need the extra B12 and folate. And as they grow up, you can give them a little more.
Yep.
I'm 5'10.5", almost 5'11". I'd have probably been 6'4" if I'd gotten my correct nutrition.
Same.
You'd have been 6'4".
I would have been 6'4". I know it. I can feel it in my bones. They were meant to grow bigger.
Jackson could have been 6'8".
I'm close. 6
You're-
foot.
You're 6 foot.
Yeah.
I thought you were like 6'2".
No, that would be Brecken's husband.
Yep.
Oh, he's 6'2".
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Girls, he's 6 foot. He drives a really nice car. Has a great job with a great company. Yeah, he
97
runs our
Corolla.
companies. It's a 97 Corolla.
Mhm.
It's
It's
not.
a hybrid.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
And I'm really trying to get him married off quick. Okay. So
Spread those
so
mutations around.
there's not going to be a Facebook Live next week. Sorry for teasing all you guys and having fun tonight. Hope you learned something.
Oh, let me tell them. We're still doing consultations, initial consultations for 200 with Dr. Purser.
Why are you giving away my lifeblood?
We're giving back this summer because we know it's not been a fun summer. But
No,
we
and
want,
it's been hard on everyone. We're definitely not increasing fees or doing anything
Yeah.
crazy.
we want
Um,
everyone to be able to have an option to come and meet with him and get their health on track. Feel better after all this.
No,
So
country's opening up. I love you all. God bless. Hang in there. Yeah, I really love y'all. So whatever I can do to help. Okay. No Facebook Live next week makes me sad because we get that giant wedding dance. It's a dance thing. It's a
I don't know
wedding
what.
dance, and what is that thing? Okay, well we're going somewhere. Okay, love you guys. Take care. God bless and go in good health.